Okay, we're gonna talk to New York Joe. We're here. We are here on the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Schedule release is just out. So we've got a lot of classic shows with the Teal Shirt Report podcast up on YouTube and obviously in the audio vault. You can still listen to those, but as of May 16th, 2026, this is the brand new one. This is absolutely the brand new one. And obviously, we're glad to have you here.
Glad to be here, Scott.
Yeah, I'm wired up from the coffee, Joe. Man, I might need one more cup.
Well, get those bongo drums out.
There you go. You know, JC, you tune into In the Pub with JC on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, In the Pub with JC on Thursdays. Mad Max on Wednesdays. Rocking it up.
Yeah, JC, a big Buffalo Bills fan, as you know. But now
we don't hold that against him.
Right. He's a little bit like you in a sense. He follows the Jaguars because this show does, and he's our executive producer. And you come on as a guest, and so we talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, a good bit of the time. And I've got a note here.
Most of your listeners are centralized down there as Jaguar fans, hence, the Teal Shirt Report and whatnot.
Yeah, if nobody knows what we completely talk about on here, it's typically the Jaguars, North Florida Entertainment, SEC, Florida Gators, and then Joe, I know you're in New Orleans, so you're a big Saints fan. So that's a great division too. The Saints are in because the people around our area, they know about the Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that are in the same division with the Saints, and the Panthers are there too. It's been a division that nobody's really run away with it recently,
No, we got some grudge matches going on. New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa, New Orleans, Tampa, Atlanta. I mean, not so much Carolina, but Atlanta, Tampa, and New Orleans. There's some bad blood there, so those are fun games to watch. I did want to talk.
Go ahead, Joe.
I did want to talk about the Jags schedule. I was just looking at the Jags schedule, and I don't want people to get discouraged. I got a feeling that it's going to go similar to the way it went last year. I mean, if you've looked at the schedule, it's front loaded with some rough teams. Now they play the Browns in week 1. I'm going to consider that a victory. But then after that, you got the Broncos, the Patriots, the Bengals, the Eagles, and the Texans.
Yeah.
That's 5 tough games that could go either way.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, this is show number 34. We're going to salute Walter Payton, longtime Chicago Bear, and also Herschel Walker, wore number 34 with the Georgia Bulldogs, 2 great running backs. I know you've talked often about you thought the Jags would get a running back much higher in the draft, and it turned out Seattle got that second running back from Notre Dame. But back to the schedule.
Before you say that, Scott, wasn't Bo Jackson number 34 too?
Gosh, he may have been. He may absolutely have been, and then he played baseball too. Man, that's a good point.
I think that's a number for some running backs there.
Yeah, so Bo Jackson played for the Raiders, Kansas City Royals in baseball. I remember him climbing the wall at an All-Star game, making a catch climbing the wall. And I think he hit 2 home runs in the same All-Star game. And sure enough, I'm looking at his number.
Then he scored a touchdown on Sunday.
I'm looking at his number when he played at Auburn. Yes, sir. He was at number 34. So we got 3 big-time number 34s that we're talking about with episode show number 34. Walter Payton with the Bears, Herschel Walker with Georgia. Herschel Walker played in the USFL, played in the NFL too. And then you got Bo Jackson. His career was cut short. I remember when he got hurt in that Raiders game, and when he's playing for the Raiders, it looked like a hip pointer or something, but it was some type of hip injury, and it basically ended his football career, I believe.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Gosh, that was years ago. But thanks for bringing that number up. That's a trio of. I mean, that's a trio of studs there that all played running back.
Boy, that's you're not kidding.
Well, we look at the schedule. I got the Jags schedule up too, Joe. I do see the week number 1, September 13th. Thank goodness that's at Everbank Stadium. At least that one, right here in Jacksonville. The Brownies should be improved. I mean, they got an A or an A+ in the draft, right?
Scott, if we're not counting that as a victory, it's going to be a long season. At home against the Browns. Who knows who their quarterback is? That's a win in my book for the Jags.
There can't be a line on that one yet, Joe. But maybe there is somewhere. I don't know. That's at home. The Jags should be favored, right?
They should be favored. They will be favored.
Okay. Then you got a tough team in week 2. That's on the road, too. That's in Denver at Empower Field at Mile High in Denver. That's a 4:05 Eastern time kickoff. Denver Broncos, man, they had a team last year, 14-3, and then the quarterback got hurt and couldn't play in the next playoff game, right?
In the championship game, yeah, absolutely. So you're playing the two teams right afterwards that were in the AFC Championship, the Broncos and the Patriots. Then they come home and they got the Patriots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you go on the road to the Bengals, and there's no telling if Joe Burrows is healthy. The Bengals are, they can beat anybody. And then you follow that up with the Eagles. Yeah, I think that's a night game. Or no, that's an overseas game. So
does it sound right that Burrow has been in the league for about 6 years? Is that about right?
Yeah, I think that's right, because I think he won either in 2019 or 2020. He won the national championship with LSU.
With your boy Ed Ogeron, right?
Yeah.
You ever met Ed Ogeron, Joe?
No, if I see him, I run the other way. He was a very good recruiter, but man, X's and O's, he might have been lacking there. He always needed a good quarterback coach or a good offensive coordinator, I believe. Yeah, he was a defensive guy for sure, and more of a just go hit him, run straight ahead and hit him. He wasn't an X's and O's guy.
But I read something in the last day or two about Joe Burrow. I think out of his 6 years, I think he's only made the playoffs, twice?
I think you're right about that. They went to the Super Bowl the one year.
God, they were 6-11 last year. I'm looking at the record. They were 6-11.
Well, he missed a bunch of games last year too.
Yeah.
He had that toe injury, so I want to say he probably missed, I don't know, 6-7 games.
I mean, but this schedule, how much credence can it have? I pulled this schedule up and it says the Bengals were 3rd in the NFC North, and I know they meant the AFC North.
Right.
I don't know who put this schedule out, but we'll give them a pass on that. I'm not too worried about what they're saying.
I mean, I'm not putting that the Jaguars should win, but I'm not giving them an easy win. They got a much tougher schedule this year, but it does get easier in the second half of the season. You get the Titans twice, you get the Giants, you get the Steelers, who I don't expect a lot from, the Commanders, who probably aren't going to be that good, and the Colts a couple times. So, you get through those. If they could go in the first 6 games, if they could go 3-3, 4-2, I'd be very happy and be thinking positive on that.
I don't think they're going to win 13 games like they did last year, but
no,
I would be happy with them winning 10 games, even 11 games, 9,
11 games. Yeah. That's what I would say too. I'd aim for 11.
If they go further in the playoffs with maybe a win or two less in 2026.
Exactly.
Okay, so so what are your impressions of the schedule? I know there's a couple of we'll get to chuckle here. A couple of home games in London, Philadelphia, and the Texans.
Well, they've really kicked up those overseas games. The Saints are going to Paris this year to play the Steelers. That's going to be the first game in Paris. They're going to Australia. It's going to be within the next couple of years, everybody's going to be playing one international game And, the Jaguars actually have a benefit because if anybody's got this international game down pat, it's the Jags. They've been doing it for so long. They do the 2 weeks over there. They got an advantage.
Well, I think they even have some kind of a little office over there too, so they're used to operating.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, I'll laugh about this part of it. Joe, it seems like some of these international games, if you're going to watch them, you better go to bed early on Saturday night, and they start at 9:30 on Sunday morning.
Well, my 8:30 my time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Do you like that, Joe?
If I tend to get up a little on the early side, so yeah, I'm not scared about that.
Football and coffee.
Yeah, football and
coffee, maybe an egg or two.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a halfway decent game,
coffee over here. Coffee boy. Oh, boy, the coffee boy, right on the money with that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. JC's got a great show on Thursday nights, and you got Mad Max and the Mad Max Mix.weebly.com on Wednesday nights. And Joe, you've heard these shows occasionally, haven't you?
Yes, of course I have, and I encourage everybody listening to check them out. I mean, they do a great job. Mad Max on Wednesday, JC in the Pub on Thursday. Awesome.
So, and then we're brought to you by Saucer Realty and Capital, a good friend of mine that owns a real estate company here in North Florida. They sell a lot of homes in Lake City, Jacksonville, Gainesville, Live Oak. Saucer Realty and Capital. Larry wished me a happy birthday from Saucer Realty and Capital here a few weeks ago. And he said, hey, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to buy you lunch. But I haven't got that lunch yet, Joe. But I figure it's coming sooner or later.
But you did get a promise that he's going to bring you lunch.
Yeah, I did. And then the colonel invited me to lunch too. A guy I went to school with that is a retired colonel out of the Army. And so I'm going to have some lunches coming around here. But, Joe, the schedule, you kind of, as far as the London games go, you think the Jags can win those, right?
Well, Las Vegas is saying they've set the Jaguars win total at the over-under total at 9.5 wins. So we're saying 10 or 11. So, I mean, I bet the over on them, but that's – if they progress like they should coming off of last season, there's no reason why they can't win 10 or 11 games.
But can you trust Brayshaw Tootin? Because we didn't get of course, they've got Rodriguez also, but can you trust Brayshaw Tootin? He's really going to be the number one guy, or supposed to be.
Yeah, they just we're going to find out, that's for sure, but they're putting all their eggs in the basket with him. Now, I did see that they signed Amir Abdul off from the Vikings to add a little more backup to the position and stuff. Okay. So,
how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's a return third down guy. He'll get you, he'll couple 5 handoffs and maybe a pass during a game. I mean, give Tootin a breather and stuff. But Tootin's the one's got to carry the load this year. He's got to come up with something. And obviously the Jaguars think he's got some talent, or they would have pursued somebody in the draft.
Yeah. I think they feel like, he's their guy. I mean, they picked him in the 3rd round in the 2025 draft. And he's got good moves. He's been a guy that's pretty good at shaking tackles. He's got some speed. They feel like he can catch it out of the backfield. So they feel like, I'm sure they feel, and he goes to another training camp, I'm sure they feel like year 2 is going to be, he can stay healthy. I mean, year 2 is going to be an improvement, you would think.
You gotta assume that he's going to get better. Yeah. He's more used to the NFL grind now, and I got to think there'll be an improvement. Now, whether he's going to get up into ETM's area of production, that's the big question.
Well, you got to figure, I mean, it's got to be a disappointment if he doesn't at least get 1,000 yards rushing if he's the main guy.
A big disappointment, because Jacksonville does rely on the running game to offset the passing game. So,
yeah. So, You said something about Trevor Lawrence getting a haircut. We're not sure that was real. We're thinking that was AI.
Yeah, it seems like it's an AI thing.
I mean,
But, listen, it's hard to – the only thing I could say for sure, Scott, is the teal shirt report is real.
That's exactly right. It's interesting that – and I like it like that because I get these like I told – there was an old song by Heart that I sent to JC. It's more of it was never released as a single, a song called BB Lestrange. And it has a great guitar riff. It has a great guitar riff at the beginning of the song. I really like it. It's more of an album track from when I first got into radio. And then I sent that to another guy named JoJo, who I worked with in radio years ago. He's Joe, but we called him JoJo. He preferred being called JoJo, actually.
Okay.
And he sent me a thing back. This will be along those same lines, talking about AI. He sent me a group, and I looked at it. I listened to it. I said, "Man, I think that's an AI group." And he said it was a group called Static Alliances, and he liked it. He said, "Oh, a lot of good stuff out there," and he sent me this thing called Static Alliances. And I listened to it for a couple minutes. I said, that might be AI, because I told JoJo, I said, well, JC, who I also worked with for a few years and still working with him, has been disappointed because he's found some new groups. And a lot of them in 2026 have turned out to be AI generated groups. And then JoJo sent me a message back, too funny. And I said, well, and JC, he's upset about this, laughing out loud. And that's the truth, because we're all searching for new music. But, when you say these groups are generated in AI, it's almost like, man, that's very disappointing. And you're looking for new music out there, and you got somebody putting together an AI group. That's kind of more of a travesty, I think, if you're a true connoisseur of music, I believe.
Absolutely.
Joe, back to the schedule. How many games are the Jags going to win?
I'm saying 10 or 11, Scott. How about you?
I probably straight up 10. I mean, 9 would be disappointing. 11 or 12 may be out of reach. I'm going to say 10 wins, and maybe they win the division by 1 game over the Texans. And if you go further in the playoffs, you win that first round game, maybe you've gotten a bye. Well, maybe not at 10 wins, but if you win a couple of playoff games and all of a sudden you find yourself in the AFC Championship game, and you can win that, I don't know if you know this, Joe, the Jaguars have been to the AFC title game like 3 times. They've never won it.
Right.
So the Jags have never gotten that Lamar Hunt trophy. That's all I'm coveting right now, is that Lamar Hunt trophy. And getting to the Super Bowl. I'm not even saying let's win the Super Bowl. Let's first of all win the AFC title.
One step at a time, but let's get to the title game.
Yeah.
There's no excuse why the Jags can't be there this year.
Well, we talked about college basketball. Michigan won the national championship. My Atlanta Hawks got knocked out of the NBA playoffs, but I didn't expect them to win an NBA title this year. All I was concerned with was winning the Southeast Division title, which they won by, I think, 1 game over Orlando. Are you following the NBA playoffs at all, Joe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It looks like it's going to be quite the matchup with San Antonio and Oklahoma City. Okay. And then I guess maybe it's going to be Detroit and the Knicks, but it looks like Oklahoma City and San Antonio are the 2 best teams. Right. We'll see what happens, but I'm interested.
Yeah, we know Boston got bounced out even after winning by almost 30 points in game 1, I think, against the Sixers. And then I guess they got Embiid back, and he was a difference when they beat the Celtics, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So back to the schedule. And again, thank you to our sponsors, Salsa Realty and Capital, the Mad Max Mix.weebly.com on Wednesday nights. Max has a great show. JC's show. JC's in the pub on Thursday nights at LakeUFallahits.com. Great internet radio. And I'll tell you this, Joe, on JC's website and even Max's website, when they run these shows, they do mention our website too. So it's we all kind of work together. It's a very, very good thing we've got going right now. And in fact, I'll tell you the truth real quick. And I know JC gets a lot of requests, but I'm going to tell you, Mad Max on Wednesday nights, he does not even have the time to get all the requests that he gets. He's got a long list of requests, and he just runs out of time. And I said, that's a good thing, Max. Leave them wanting more. And that new group of people he's getting, they're coming back the next Wednesday night to hear the show again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I encourage everybody to listen to Mad Max and JC in the Pub on Wednesday and Thursday. That locks it up. So
but what about 10 wins? 10 wins enough to win that division? Where are the Texans going to be at, you think?
Well, that's going to be the big question. I think their thing relies on what happens with CJ Stroud. He hasn't really advanced or improved like the Texans were anticipating. We'll see what he's got this year, but it seems like it's a 2-team race once again with the Texans and the Jags. And
yeah, I know
there's
a preseason game where the Jaguars will play your New Orleans Saints on the road.
I saw that too, but we don't really pay much attention to preseason games anymore. That's the redheaded stepchild, if you will.
I got you. You're probably right there. Preseason games back in the day when they used to play as many as 6 preseason games, they were a lot more. Yeah. Everybody thought a lot more seriously about preseason back in, say, the 70s and 80s, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and they need preseason games, but now it's like we're going to play as many regular season games as we can or want to, or they're the money games. They're just not, they're not going to make money on the preseason games, and that's typically what it all comes down to. So the Jaguars did get a Monday night game too, Joe. I saw that.
Yeah, they got like 3 or 4 primetime games. So, okay. I mean, they won the division last year.
The Monday night game, I think, is against Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's later in December or something. So,
yeah, I think they've got a Monday night game against Pittsburgh, December the 14th. I believe that's a Monday night game at Everbank Stadium. It will be a home game here in Jacksonville, 8:15 p.m. That's I'm assuming that's the kickoff time for Monday Night Football. That'll be on ESPN. I'm not a big ESPN guy, Joe, but
me neither.
But I'm going to tell you something that's really weird. Now, there's other networks out there that are showing NFL football too. NFL Network, of course, some of the local channels. Do you watch games on? I guess Amazon's doing games too, right?
Amazon's doing the Thursday game. Peacock and NBC are doing the Sunday night game.
Okay.
I'm all, you got some games going on Netflix this year. Amazon Prime.
I don't have Netflix.
Yeah.
Joe, do you have any of those? Are you going to watch?
Yeah, exactly. We don't have regular cable. I don't have ESPN. I've got Netflix and Peacock and Amazon. I'm going with the streaming services, and we use that for most of our. And then we just use the antenna for the ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC channels.
I mean, here in 2026, you got to have a digital antenna where you can watch, the Beverly Hillbillies and Hogan's Heroes and some of the old shows that we all like, or we like most of these. You're probably a big Jeffersons guy. All in the Family was a good show. You see that all over the place on. Me TV or My TV or whatever they call that network. And there's Cozy Comedy and different ones. So I watch some of that. And then I watch a lot of YouTube. We do the podcast. We keep up with the Jags. If there's a game that's not on a network or channel that I have, that I'm availed to, I do a lot of scoreboard watching too, Joe.
Well, you can usually track maybe it's a few minutes behind schedule, but you can watch a lot on YouTube.
Yeah.
Now the other aspects and other arms of the family like Netflix and Amazon Prime, and Peacock. So I'm just kind of riding the coattails and with the sports on that. But I'll tell you what, this year's NBA playoffs, a lot of those are on Peacock and Amazon instead of
Man.
ESPN. So I have thoroughly enjoyed the fact that they're not on ESPN.
Oh, okay. I got you. And see, you've got some, apparently, Joe, you've got some subscriptions with some of these other ones, right?
Yeah, we've got an Amazon subscription, a Netflix, Peacock, Paramount or something, and then all the other ones fall in. I got Hulu and Pluto and YouTube, all those. So
Hulu, Voodoo, and what have you.
Yeah, and it's basically the same as if you were to get the cable package. So we're happy with this. No commercials, and it's about $100 a month, I'd say. And they tell me that cable's about 80 now. So anyway,
I wonder what our executive producer will think. Our executive producer might chime in with some comments about that, because there's a lot of people that I mean, not everybody. A lot of people are going to get, some of those people are going to get the subscription services like you, Joe, but a lot of them aren't. They're very, people are very upset in this regard, I believe.
Yeah, but it's not going to change. That's the problem. It's not going to change. Now this is an interesting statistic I just read this week, that 48% of the people are involved and watch television through these streaming services. There's only 27% that are still like doing cable. And then there's like 21% that are doing just the antenna stations and stuff.
Well, Joe, have you watched, I mean, in the past 2-3 years, there's been a lot of college football games you've been able to grab on YouTube, and then sometimes they'll block the channel out or something. It's amazing.
Yeah. I know. I will say that I watch most of my college football on ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC. I watch them on the regular antenna stations.
Yeah, I think I lost
because they're still dominated by ESPN. Dominates college football still.
Yeah, well, they own it. They own college football. That's why all the conferences have changed and all this other. And boy, we could do a show on that too, a complete show, 2 or 3 shows on that. Actually, and we probably will.
Absolutely. Listen, get rid of the conference championship games and go to 24 teams, and let's have the playoffs last about a month like the NFL. I mean, let's football every day, Scott. Football every day.
Now I heard this rumor the other day. Is it true that they're going to go to? Did you say 24 college football playoff teams?
Yes, that's what they're pushing for. God. ESPN. All the 4 of the 5 major conferences have agreed to it. The SEC is still holding out, but the reason why is because ESPN wants to cap it at 12 or 16 max because once it goes past 14 teams,
let everybody
ESPN can be cut out of the bidding and stuff. So it's no benefit to them for them to go to 24 teams because they'll lose the television rights to some of those games.
New York Joe, they're going to ruin the sport.
Yeah. But, get rid of the conference championships mean nothing anymore because both teams, for the most part,
I think that's sad. I really do. I think that's very sad.
But the fact that they don't, let's make it around the playoffs, where it means something.
Playoffs.
They don't mean anything anymore. Playoffs. You talk about playoffs?
Well, what you're telling me then, Joe, is this. You're telling me half the SEC teams will get in the playoff, right? That's what you're telling me when they go to 24.
Pretty much. They probably get 6-8 teams in. What the hell?
What about ACC? All those ACC teams are going to get in there too, and some of those aren't.
They'll get one or two. You know,
Yeah,
Notre Dame.
programs.
Notre Dame will get in. The Big Ten will have 6-8 teams in there, and the Big 12 will have 2 or 3. So they'll definitely. I mean, the teams want it because it's money. You know, we have 12 games or whatever it is. So it'll be fun.
I wonder what the mayor of the west side of Jacksonville, Mr. Ray Kennedy, who's a big Notre Dame fan, I'm sure he was very disappointed when they didn't make the. How many teams were in this year? 12, right?
Yep.
And is Indiana going to be strong in the next year?
They're preseason ranked number 1 once again.
Wow. Well, but they got to get a new quarterback now, right?
They got one.
They do. How old is he? About
I forget where he came. I forget where he came from, but you'd recognize the name. He's well known.
What about?
So they're gonna be fine.
Deal, Joe, what about this deal, real quickly? About there's a couple of guys in the NFL. They might have been. I can't remember the names, but there was a couple of guys that were not drafted. They were like undrafted free agents, and they might have signed a 1, 2, 3 year deal with the team, even though they weren't drafted. And then all of a sudden they said, "Hey, I'm not going to play. I got enough money from my college football days in the NIL." What do you think about that?
Well, that's, I didn't hear this story, the story you're talking about, but there's similar situations with guys that would have come out, are sticking around for another year, collecting that NIL money. I mean, if you were going to be a 4th or 5th round draft choice, you could make more money with NIL staying in college for another year and hopefully improving stock. And that's going to happen.
Be a big fish in a small pond and get the money, right?
Exactly. Look at Carson Beck made $4 or $5 million for the University of Miami last year. Now he's a 3rd round pick. I don't know where he falls in the salary thing, but he's probably taking a little bit of a cut. So you'll have more guys. You'll have more guys sticking around, and the same thing goes true with basketball. More guys will stick around, so they get the experience. So they'll be ready for the pros, and college game will go back to being when you got to root for a guy. It wasn't a 2 and done thing. He stuck around, and you can. I hope they put this new rule in where you can only transfer once. And stop this.
I think everybody's
nonsense.
in favor of that. Yeah, not everybody. Players aren't, but
yeah.
Who drafted Carson Beck in the NFL?
I want to say Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, Carson Beck is from Jacksonville originally, right?
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Played with Mandarin High School. Won a state. I'll find out. We're going to find out right now because I know JC knows. He follows the draft. Carson Beck played with Georgia, Miami, of course. He's 23 years old now. I thought he might be a year or two older than that. Let's see, who's the guy playing for now? Who is he playing for? JC's probably breaking his neck.
I'm telling you, I think it's Arizona
Cardinals. I think it's the Cardinals.
Yep.
Yeah, something from Bleacher Report. I pulled up something from Bleacher Report. It says the Cardinals. Speaking of quarterbacks, I mean, would he get a shot there? Where's the baseball playing quarterback now? Where's he at?
He's in Minnesota. Kyler Murray's in Minnesota competing with the job with J.J. McCarthy. And Jacoby Brissett has got the job in Arizona until Carson Beck or somebody comes in.
He's been around. He's been around a long time.
But he didn't actually play that bad last year. So it'll be interesting. The Cardinals might be pretty good on offense this year. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But listen, before we sign off here, I did want to
No, I was just going to say that. Go ahead.
I wanted to, before we sign off, I did want to bring up this A.J. Brown rumors are now talking about possibly coming to the Jaguars. It was a locked-in deal that he was going to go to the Patriots. Doesn't seem from the reports I'm seeing that it's a definite locked-in deal anymore. Grable was his coach in Tennessee, and there's no telling what's going to be happening with Grable with all the scandal stuff coming up with him and new stuff coming out. He may not be there, so A.J. Brown may be saying, I don't know about this. Jaguars are mentioned as a possible trade partner due to the fact that Travis Hunter is going to play more defensive back this year, supposedly, and they're not happy with Brian Thomas's efforts. Oh. So could you imagine A.J. Brown and Trevor Lawrence?
So it wouldn't be a straight up trade. There'd be a draft pick in there too, right?
Probably. I don't know that the Eagles even want Brian Thomas. They've done some signings of wide receivers and stuff. The Jaguars may trade Brian Thomas to somebody else and just give the Eagles a draft choice. I think they're looking for either a first or second rounder. They're looking for a first, and I think teams are trying to settle for a second rounder. But I'd give up a first rounder for A.J. Brown. He's a proven commodity. Him and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah. Joe, what do they say in the NFL offices back behind closed doors when they talk about, well, the Jaguars are going to play a couple of games in London this year, and what do they say behind closed doors? Man, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they should be just lucky they have a team. Is that what they're saying behind closed doors?
Well, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think the NFL headquarters is very, very happy with the Jaguars taking one for the team, playing these double games overseas every year, not really balking about, the travel and whatnot. And that's, the Jaguars are a lot of the reason why it's up to 9 international games right now. They've got a following over there.
Yeah.
Now,
what about when in 2028? What about when the new stadium's done? Wouldn't you think the Jags would play less games in London with the new stadium?
Yeah. There's no doubt. The Jaguars they'll say, hey, listen, we paid our dues on this, and we got a new stadium, and I don't think the NFL will push them. I think the Jaguars' days of going overseas are slim and none once the new stadium comes into play.
Will there ever be an expansion team awarded to England, like London and maybe one other city in England? See, then you can have Old England playing New England, right?
You'd have to do 2 teams.
I agree.
If you're going to expand, you'd have to do 2 teams.
Yeah.
And they'd have to do something where, a couple of NFL teams would go over there, and let's say, for instance, the Jaguars and the Texans, they'd go over and they'd play the London team, and then they play the team from Madrid.
They play the
2
London
weeks in a row. You're already okay. London Fog. I got it the first time, Scott.
And the old England Kings.
Yeah. The Scottish lassies. Okay. Or the French ducks, whatever. I could use a language, but we usually try to keep it clean here on the Peel Sturdy report.
We do. We got, on our audio podcast, we got like a 5-star rating from Apple, and down somewhere in the comments it says it's clean. It's a clean show. There's not cussing. There's Joe, I know sometimes you might say a superlative every now and then, but overall it's a pretty clean show. I mean, I dealt with the FCC for a number of years. So did JC, because we were in the terrestrial, radio game for a long time. But I'm going to tell you what, Joe, I always enjoy having you on.
God, I try to check my potty mouth at the door before I step into the studio.
Oh, I did talk to John Gaylor, who's our contributor and correspondent. He loves listening to you, Joe. He really does. He thinks you're a character. Yeah. Of course, we all do. But
Joe, that's what I'm here for. I am a character, no doubt.
But Joe, I know I asked you the question a long time ago I said, well, Joe knows a few CD people, but I guess we all do. Are all the now? What about those guys you knew down in South Florida, Joe? Are they those mobster types? Are they all gone now?
So they're gone one way or another, Scott.
None
One
of
way
them
or
are still
another.
alive, right?
Some of them are in the graveyard. Some of them are in the prison system, and some of them are in the witness protection plan.
Some of them they got a new name now, don't they?
New name, new identity. Yeah,
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 yeah. It's like JC always tells us, no last names.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. No last names.
So, Joe, let me say this about the schedule. You've looked at the schedule. I've looked at the schedule. I think you've looked at it probably a little bit more closely than I have. I'm pulling it up again one more time because this was the primary thing we were talking about on our podcast today. And obviously, the Jags are going to play the Titans a couple of times. All the division rivals are going to play them twice as usual. Texans, Titans, Colts. Is there anybody? Do you see the Jags winning the division, or is there anybody else in the AFC South that could come up and bite them and catch them and maybe beat them?
Come on, you know that it's between the Jags and the Texans. The Titans and the Colts, I mean, you know, the Titans are young. They'll be better. The Colts, it all depends on Daniel Jones coming back from the injury, but they still got some holes. I just look for the Jaguars and the Texans to fight it out down to the finish. They got that second game that's like in week 15 or 16 this year.
Well,
and
I'm looking. Listen, I'm looking at. New York Joe. I'm looking at week number 6 right now. October the 18th. Houston Texans and Jaguars playing at Wembley Stadium in Wembley, United Kingdom. It's on the NFL Network. Could the division be decided across the pond?
Not in week 6. No.
Okay.
Too early. Way too early.
Okay. Then the Texans game is week 15, and that's at Reliant Stadium. That's in Houston.
Yeah, that's the one you got to look at. That's the one that could decide the division.
Okay. And then the Jags.
Because then they got the Colts and the I don't know who they play. I know they play the Colts. I think is the last game of the season is the Colts. If I'm not correct, I'm not looking at it.
I think the Jags got the I'm looking at the schedule. I think they're playing everybody in the NFC East and the NFC side because they got Dallas on December 27th. That's at 8:20 p.m. Is that a Sunday night game? Maybe I think that's a Sunday night game. I guess they could change the time. Obviously, they change times on the Sunday night games sometimes. But it says it's on NBC at 8:20 p.m. That's at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, 8:20 p.m. on NBC. Dallas Cowboys, Jacksonville Jaguars on December the 27th. And week 16, that a lot of people figured the Cowboys would come back and play better in 2026. That could be a huge game on December 27th.
Absolutely. Well, any game against the Cowboys is a great game, and a big game. And I mean, the Jaguars don't play the Cowboys but once every 5 years or so. So that'll be interesting. The game to follow.
They're playing the Commanders. We talked about, of course, the Commanders earlier. They're playing them week 17. They play Dallas.
Yeah, they're playing the Giants. They're playing the Eagles. They're playing everybody from that NFC East division. So
in closing, Joe, I'll let you close things up. You talked about the A.J. Brown possibility, but just not the Jaguars. There's a couple other teams mentioned too, right?
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs are mentioned, and the New England Patriots are mentioned.
So if you're A.J. Brown, where do you want to go? Jacksonville might not be A.J. Brown's first choice, I would think.
I think his first choice would be New England as long as Grable's the coach there. But that's kind of up in the air. I mean, he's a wide receiver. He's got to love to be, he'd love to play with Patrick Mahomes. I can't think that he wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
there's been a lot of stuff in the news. We won't go into all the particulars, but there was a lot of stuff about Grable. I just pulled it up now because I've actually seen some fake stories about how he's resigning or he's already resigned, but he has not.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I went online and I asked if Mike Rabel is the current head coach of the New England Patriots, and the answer to the question is yes. Rabel is still the head coach there.
Yeah, he is, but it's becoming iffy. So we'll see what happens with that.
So
But
we're finished with AJ Brown. Joe, how do you really feel about the Jaguars' schedule? How do you really feel about it?
I think they're looking at 10, 11 wins. I do.
Okay. 9 wins would be disappointing. 10 wins is probably the radar. 11 would be anything more than 10 would be very good with a schedule like that, I believe. But I don't see that happening. I think if you're a Jaguars fan, you're going to say, well, we're not going to win as many games in 2026 as we did in 2025, but we may, in the long run, we play a couple of more playoff games. And if we go a long way, we still may end up with 13 wins, but deeper in the playoffs. Could that be what we're looking at?
I don't think they're going to get to 13 wins this year.
Okay. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that.
But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a better team. They just got a much tougher schedule. So let's say they get to 11 wins. Let's say they can win the division again. Well, now you got the same cast of characters. You know, they're gonna have to beat Texas. They're gonna have to beat Buffalo. San Diego or the Chargers are gonna be good this year. Yeah. The Patriots, I mean, they're gonna have to go into the playoffs, and Trevor Lawrence is gonna have to play better. That's all.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there has been times, I mean, here's the thing. When you look at the Jaguars as a team, there's been some changes. Etienne's no longer on the team. He's with New Orleans. That could be a problem. Linebacker, I don't see the loss of Devin Lloyd as that huge a loss. It is a loss, but you got a guy named Ventrell Miller. I think he's moving into like his it's either his third or fourth year out of Florida. And he's a hard hitter, and he's an A1 effort guy. I really like Ventrell Miller, who I think is going to start at linebacker this year. He's played a lot of games already, Joe. But he was hurt.
I'm not that familiar with him, but I'll take your word for it on this, Scott.
Buster Brown, a cornerback. The Jags re-signed him for 3 years, but he was a late round draft pick by Balky about 3 or 4 years ago, and now I guess he's been in the league like close to 4 years. I believe 4 years. Time's really flown. Buster Brown, Monteric Brown, I believe is his given name. Monteric Brown, also known as Buster Brown. I think the Jags, I don't even think they have to make a trade for A.J. Brown. I think that the fans might overall, I don't think the fans would want that. I think maybe a small group of fans might. But the Jags are deep at wide receiver, and they're probably even deeper at defensive back. The problem is,
they're not as deep at wide receiver as you think they are. Travis Hunter hasn't proven himself yet. Thomas dropped off. I don't think he's got the A1 effort in him. A.J. Brown is an alpha receiver that the Jaguars do not have. I think him and Jacoby Myers would be perfect combination for Trevor Lawrence. And listen, Scott, let's not try to hide the fact that what this Jaguars season is going to revolve around 3 issues. 1, can Trevor Lawrence improve in Cohen's system? 2, can Tootin, the running back, carry the load? And 3, can they figure out what to do with Travis Hunter? That's the 3 things that will determine the Jaguars' season this season, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Right. Travis Hunter, okay. You were breaking up a little bit there, Joe, but I heard most of it. If you're the general manager of the Jaguars, if you were, you're not Gladstone or Badstone. JC calls him Badstone now because of the draft he had. He calls him Badstone.
Yeah, that's
So
not a
if
bad
you're the
name for
GM
him.
of the Jag, hey, if you're the GM of the Jags, you're coming off a draft where it's somewhat controversial, where you got a C minus or a D, and you want to get AJ Brown. What in your mind, Joe? If you're the GM of the Jags, what are you okay with giving up for AJ Brown?
If push comes to shove, I'd give up the first round draft choice because I'm anticipating that the Jaguars are going to be drafted around 25th or so. So it's not going to be a top 10 draft choice.
Okay,
I try to get him to take a second rounder, but if it's AJ Brown and he wants to come to Jacksonville, I'd give up that first rounder. Let's do it.
You know, there's and again, there's only so many balls to go around. And so I think a Jags receiver may go the other way. I don't know who that would be. I don't know who you're okay with giving up, receiver and a draft pick to get AJ Brown. Could that happen?
Yeah, I'd give up Thomas in a third round pick.
Okay,
but
so
I don't think the Eagles want Thomas. I think they want the draft choice. They've filled up their wide receiver room this year. They got Devontae Smith. They got the guy Wicks from the Packers. They got Hollywood Brown from Kansas City. I don't think they need Thomas.
Yeah. What about JC's Buffalo Bills? Any comments about the Bills?
Good luck to the Bills this year. They're going to have a brand spanking new stadium, so they should be happy about that. No excuses.
Yeah. Now, don't you think when the Jaguar Stadium gets completed, of course, they've got to go to Orlando and play in 2027, but when they get into, and this is not $1 million stadium, this is a billion dollar stadium, Joe. When they finish this stadium, shouldn't it be one of the top 5 venues in the world?
I don't know about the world, Scott, but I'd put it as one of the top 5 venues in the NFL.
Well, that might be good, yeah. But if it's one of the top 5 venues in the NFL, it's probably at least top 10 or top 5 worldwide, I would think. But I haven't been to all these venues now. When you talk international, when I was a kid, because California is an interesting place, as people have moved out of there and headed to the Panhandle of Florida and different places. And we're not going to get on politics too much, although people come down to Florida for the warm weather and the politics. But the furthest I've ever been to a stadium was the Los Angeles Coliseum, which I really thought when I was a kid, whether I'm right or wrong, when I'm a kid, I thought it was one of the cathedrals of college football where USC played. And I saw the Florida Gators play USC. I think I was kind of college age then when I saw them play in USC at the Los Angeles Coliseum. So that's probably the furthest football stadium I've been to from Jacksonville, actually.
Okay.
So these stadiums that are in England, like the Wembley, I have been to London before, but I've never been to a football game in London. But Wembley, and then the other one is called Tottenham, right?
Right.
So, and then what's going on, Joe, as far as the international games go? Now, all of a sudden, we've got the NFL is expanding to Australia, Paris, France, and is it going to continue? Are you still going to see international games for years to come?
It's going to only grow. It's going to be just a couple of years, and every team will be playing at least one game over there. That's why they want to go to the 18-game schedule. So,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Mark it down.
Don't you think 17 games is plenty?
No, not with the way they want to do it. It'll be 2 bye dates, and everybody will go overseas at some point in the season. That's what the NFL wants, and that's what the NFL is going to get.
Well, it's from your standpoint, Joe, it's more action, more weeks of action, right?
The owners love the international games.
Yeah,
there's so much money to be made. They've got their different areas that they've staked out and stuff. So,
and bear in mind, there's a team in Vegas now, the Vegas Raiders, right?
Yep.
Did you ever think there'd be a team in Las Vegas when you were coming up, Joe?
Absolutely. It was only a matter of time.
Okay, Joe.
Only a matter of time. So, Yep. I think we got it covered today, Scott.
Okay, Joe, when you coming back to Jacksonville? You going to come back for a visit sometime?
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up. Episode show number 34. Bo Jackson wore 34. Herschel Walker wore 34. Walter Payton wore 34 with the Bears. And, man, I tell you what, those are some pretty hefty. Those are big-time players who wore number 34. Joe, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Oh, my pleasure, Scott. Look forward to next time. And I want to remind everybody, tune in Mad Max and JC in the Pub Wednesdays and Thursday nights. You won't be disappointed. And thank you for listening.
Joe, do you know what my 3 favorite things are during football?
What's that, Scott?
My 3 favorite things to do?
What's that?
I thought you knew. I like to watch football, eat barbecue, and talk about football. Those are 3 of my favorite things, Joe.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
Number 4 is probably getting a really hot, piping, delicious, sweet, and wholesome cup of coffee to wake up with in the morning. And Joe, hey, I appreciate you joining us right here on the Teal Shirt Report podcast, episode show number 34. Thank you for the kind words about Mad Max and JC and all of our sponsors, Salsa Realty and Capital as well. And Joe, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Well, hey, I know we're going to talk to you soon. And I got a feeling we're going to get some comments in the YouTube comment area about some of your comments, some of my comments, and about the schedule release. So, Joe, thank you for joining us. Man, you have a great day, Joe.
Thanks for having me, Scott. Look forward to next time. Take care.
Yes, sir. You take care. Episode show number 34 in the books with our special guest, New York Joe. Everybody loves New York Joe, or most people do. They really like listening to you, Joe. You have a great day, man. What a great guest to have on, New York Joe. You guys have a great day. Thank you for joining us on the Teal Shirt Report podcast from BigJReport.com. That's going to do it. Your host, Scott. Take care. Thank you for listening. Please smash the like button if you will. Smash our like button. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done that. We got well over 2,000 subscribers. And maybe most importantly, give us your comments in the YouTube comment section of the Teal Shirt Report podcast from BigJReport.com. I'm going to take off. You guys have a great day. This one has been nearly an hour. Been a lot of fun with our special guest, New York Joe. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Woo! Man, New York Joe, he was on fire. Let me tell you, the coffee was great. Thank you, JC. You guys take care. One more cup.